Okay, just to be clear, we're getting ready to go live here. So just be aware of that, please. Not just our guys, but also players.
Austin, Waterbury.
Chim, can you do a quick sanity check on our stream? Make sure it's functional on our third-party websites.
Roger.
Gabriel Patkinson.
For those of you who are joining, welcome. We are about to start. We have some last minute folks who are logging in. We want to welcome you today to the Rat Chat. We will start at approximately 5 after. So this is the last chance for people to log in and see what's up. Our attendees, those of you who are actually in the Zoom meeting, you probably will not see fellow attendees. That's okay. This is not the regular Zoom meeting you're used to. This is the webinar functionality. We have a lot of cool stuff to share with you today. For those of you who are joining us on Facebook and YouTube and the Steam pages, as well as Twitch, please stand by. We will start our screen shares momentarily. And today is going to be loaded with a lot of good information. We just need you to be patient. Now, for those of you who are attendees who have your regular personal name and not your game name in the list, simply type in the chat bar what your game name is. We have staff who are ready to help and rename you to what you need. Okay, so we've got a good day coming. Just hang tight. We will start in just a few minutes. Thanks for being patient. And again, now's the time to get a hold of your friend, your squatty. Ring them up, text them, Facebook, whatever you got to do. Get them in here. We want people to be here because we've got a lot of great stuff for you today. Thanks. How many of our rats here, our panelists, have cameras that they'll be turning on today? Are we just going to go with photos here, or?
I can turn mine on.
Yeah, I can turn mine on as well.
Sure.
Yeah.
I recommend having the blur on your background. I'll go ahead and when we actually officially start, we probably want to have those activated. So get ready, get those prepped, put the blur on. Mike Mudd made it. If Mike Mudd, it's 4 a.m. there in Australia, if he can make it, there's no excuse for anybody. Just saying.
Last chance to get your name changed. Otherwise, I'll have to do it through chat. Please just type in your name so we can get y'all taken care of. Thank you.
Zoom, you have your video disabled. So I can start again.
Okay, we're going to have a lot of co-hosts. Get ready.
There we go.
There you go.
Yay.
There you go. So in order for these cameras to come online, I've got to give you guys co-hosts. So please use it wisely.
Well, I don't have a camera, so I don't really need one.
Perfect.
Same here.
Yeah, same for B2K.
Yeah, that's the story I'm sticking with.
Clusters down.
Right.
So.
Okay. Great. So now with the cluster being offline, we should be expecting some more people to join in. All right. Okay, I think I have everybody. Okay, I'm going to turn off Discord so people don't bomb me there. I saw you, Westy. You can't hide from us. I'm gonna kick mine on here. Okay, good. Hello, hello. All right.
Testing 1, 2, 3. Can y'all hear me?
Gotcha. Yep. Hey, Hatch. Okay, so Chim, can we verify that the live streams are working okay? We're good?
Yeah, they're good.
All right. So do you want a raw recorded file from this as well, or do you just want to pull that from?
No,
the,
we'll just use the stream.
Okay, cool. All right. Let me get this going then. Any last things before we get started? Chim, Tex, Ohm, are we good?
All good on my end.
Yeah, we're just trying to get everyone. We're getting most of them, but that's it. We'll have to do a promo, public service announcement periodically.
Okay.
Good on my end.
All right. Okay, then let me get my screen share going. For those of you who are going to be presenting before we officially start, get your stuff ready to go while I'm talking here. As soon as I'm done with my initial stuff, we're going to go across the room, and I'm going to make sure. And if for some reason I forget you, reach out to me. Don't let me conclude. To our players, we're going to be doing a series of presentations for you today. I'm going to give you a quick brief. At the end, we'll do a Q&A. For those people who are not presenting, but who are here as panelists or rats, feel free to answer questions as we go along. Your help in that regard would be very welcome. All right. So that being said, play from the start. Can you verify you can see this? Yes. Okay, great.
Yes, sir.
All right. Great. Thank you, guys. Well, welcome, everybody. We're officially kicking off here. To everybody who's on our social media channels, we welcome you as well. We may be a little bit slow to responding to you, but in the description of on Facebook and YouTube and Twitch, you should see a join link to this Zoom webinar for today's Rat Chat. You can actually log in directly, and you're welcome to do that now or at any time through this. But just know that there's going to be a delay in our response time on social media. For those of you who are here, again, we were just talking about, we have this presentation followed by several others. And you're welcome to ask questions as we go. We're not going to stop the flow of this presentation until the end to answer those questions. However, we do have several panelists and rats who are able to answer those questions along the way. Some of them they won't be able to answer right away, and we'll get to those later. I do encourage you to take notes. You should have a notepad on your end as we talk about stuff to write questions down. We're going to, at the end, when we do our Q&A, we're going to do a 1 question per person maximum for each time that we call on you. Look around for the raise hand button. Don't do that now, but just be aware of where it is. When we get to that Q&A portion, that is how we will allow you to speak, which we have to give you permission to do. And then we will we'll let you ask your question, and we'll do our best to answer it. Not all questions can be answered, and not everything that you're looking for is going to be discussed today. But we do have quite a bit of good things. So with that being said, let's get on with the initial briefing. So here's the topics for today's Rat Chat. We're going to talk about some game design changes and high command. That's what I'm going to be focusing on today. We may hear from Ohm, who's our game manager. He's here as well. We may also hear from Tech64, who's our community manager. Together, we've been working pretty hard on figuring out how we can stabilize gameplay and make some changes so that we can get some more support for high command. Then we're going to be talking about an upcoming release for World War II Online. That's version 136.14.0. We'll be going with Korn as well as Hatch for some quick briefings on the things that they've been up to. They've both been heavily involved, as well as other people, on this upcoming release, and it should be really good. We'll also provide some brief progress on World War II Online 2.0. We'll be talking about how we're converting our existing models over to Unreal, which was one of our first major hurdles to do. And then we'll hear from Mike Mudd and potentially Owl about our dynamic terrain loading, or in short, how we're trying to keep World War II Online scale within the Unreal Engine. And then after that, we should be getting a progress report on World War II Online Chokepoint from Stefan and potentially other members of Wing 2 at CRS. Wing 2, again, represents everybody working on Chokepoint. Wing 1 is everybody working on, well, the other stuff, World War II Online and the conversion to 2.0. So with that being said, I'm going to dive into the game design changes in high command portion, and we'll just do some smooth sailing here. Oh, obviously, question answered after that. Okay, my button's moving a little bit slow. I apologize for this. Okay, I'm just going to use my keys there. All right. So as I'm reading here, pay attention. We talked about wanting to update high command. So here's what we're thinking. All lieutenant colonels within our game who are premium subscribers, who are in good standing, are going to be receiving HC subscription access. Again, all lieutenant colonels are veteran premium players. There will be no application to OCS required, but it's recommended. A full high command feature set, with the exception of .allied and .access, will become available for these users. Their primary role is to set and remove AOs, rally players, and move optional brigades. Lieutenant colonels will be embedded with existing high command officers listed in today's ORBAT. Updates to high command access will occur each new campaign or for specific cases during, such as somebody wants to switch sides, or maybe that person is no longer active. So it's something we'll be doing on our end through our database automatically. This will not require existing high command officers to manage this. So here's what our current manpower looks like in HC. We've been reviewing this for the last 30 days and talking about this pretty aggressively. Right now in AHC, we have roughly 48 officers in the roster, and probably 15-ish are active. And then for the access, we have 59 in the roster with maybe 20-ish active. These are the number of officers in total to cover all time zones. After this change, we're anticipating that the Allied Officer Corps will be filled up to about 350 plus, or 7 times the current amount. And then the Axis Officer count will be 350, or 6 times the amount. This includes existing officers, as mentioned previously. Our projection is that 10% at any given time, or I'm sorry, during time zone 1 and 2, will be of those numbers online. And then during TZ3, it could be a little bit less. These numbers for the number of lieutenant colonels were derived from a review of our database of people actively playing during campaign 184. And we're going to get back to this. This is all part of this, so bear with me. As part of this, we want to also include squad attack objectives. This is somewhat of our focus point now that we're talking about including many more people into high command. So each threshold for AO availability beyond 1 will receive an additional AO. So for example, right now, you go from 1 AO to 2s. That threshold will actually become 3. And instead of 3 AOs, it will now become 4. Each new additional AO will be at the full discretion of a squad commander online. So when you have 2 AOs dedicated to high command, 1 AO will always be available for a squad online. Let me repeat that. Now that we're giving it an extra AO, that 1 additional AO will always be available and dedicated specifically for the purpose of squads to utilize. And since all lieutenant colonels in high command will have blue HC chat to discuss these priorities and placements, we're going to be more inclusive in the process for squads to be part of that strategic component. Of course, at all times, the HCCP, or High Command Control Panel, the veto will be available for fixing proposals. Current high command are expected to allow the extra AO to be utilized however squads wish, however they wish. Abuse in either case will result into HC tool removal. So if we have an officer who says, absolutely not, my way or the highway, they probably won't be an officer for very long. In addition to that, if we find somebody who are in squads, just taking advantage of all these AOs, when HC are actually online, the people who are in the ORBAT, there will be an issue there. Now, it's going to be a little chaotic at first. We expect that, but this is just for extreme cases. So that's not a threat. Let's just play it cool, and we're giving you the extra AO for that purpose. Now, with this, we intend to have an extended intermission and training process. The rollout of this initiative will occur after the conclusion of campaign 184. This campaign, at the end of it, this will happen. So the start of intermission between 184 and 185 will be the first availabilities for lieutenant colonels to have this access. You can expect a 5 to 7 day intermission for training. Everyone should be helping each other learn what these tools are and what's going on. We will schedule at least 2 official CRS-led training sessions. Both will be all-inclusive, meaning whether you're Axis or Allied, you're welcome to participate. That can be easily done either in a setting like this, or it can also be done within Discord quite easily with a screen share. And since it's intermission, we don't have anything to worry about in terms of operational security and spies and all that stuff. There will be no special event planned for this intermission, just training and prep for 185. At the conclusion of this intermission, we will officially roll into campaign 185. Training is anticipated to continue, and we will need cool heads for issues that arise. Moderation. Our existing high command officers, Colonel Plus, will be acting as ranking officers. And by that, we mean they have operational command for the AOs that are designated to them, as well as the strategic output. The extra AO is simply for squads to utilize, again, however they see fit. All players are expected to work together for the common good. Colonel Plus rank is expected to allow squads full autonomy with that additional AO. If anyone is abusing their tools, report this issue and the GM team will review in real time. Screenshots of the incident are vital, and escalations will reach the community management team where we'll do a further investigation, which might include tools getting revoked, but initially things will be pretty relaxed in that respect. There needs to be a break-in period for people to understand what's going on. Refinement and fixes. We expect the initial 30 days to be somewhat chaotic, and it's important to work together. The CM team, community managers, will be actively engaged with the players to monitor progress, and CM team will actively be communicating with the HC as well. Refinements and fixes will occur as needed and as possible. All players are requested to proceed with optimism, recognizing the need for this to occur. Here's some of our justifications. Why are we doing this? We have reduced the high command's dependency as far as we can in game. The implementation of garrison supply has dramatically reduced the pressure valve that's on those players. Therefore, the job requirements for HC is at a 15-year low. It's so much easier to participate. So those of you who might be concerned, like, I don't want to do that, we expected that, but we're going to do everything we can to make this as easy as possible on you. This directly injects squads into the strategic element of the game, which, by the way, has been long missing. We achieve a maximum certainty of people in a position to help. Therefore, to the best of our ability, we remove the no HC period, which is typically dead. So, yeah, it's kind of akin to a mission leader in World War II Online, where players are now leading strategically. So there was a certain time when ranks were required for you to become a mission leader. This is somewhat of that thing. This is not just, we cannot associate gameplay from high command. They're not two different things. And the people with the HC tools directly impact and therefore have the ability with the tool set to drive our game. And that part is really important to take note of here. It will also educate players on how the game works. For those of you who maybe have never done this before, you're going to see quite a bit of stuff, and it's going to help you realize just how significant this is. I think it will also educate players to understand that HC really is not that intensive. So anyway, with the conclusion of that, I don't want you guys to worry. We're going to get to our next speaker here soon. Corn, I'm going to ask you to get ready to present your stuff as it pertains to this release. We will be talking about this high command thing very shortly. This is not something that our current high command structure can handle anymore alone. Many good people have tried many good initiatives over many years, and I know I just said many 3 times, but this is an all-inclusive effort at this stage to ensure that, you know, World War II Online remains a player-driven game. This is the last stand. So before negatively reacting to this, I would ask you to consider how you can help the game and realize the necessity behind this. To our existing HC officers, I say high command is here to stay. This is validation of that. I understand that it might be a little confusing, perhaps worrisome. Most of our people internally, we've been talking about this for a little bit, and there was initial concerns. Over time, it started to make more sense. I do not anticipate that to go perfectly. I expect there to be problems, but we need to address the lack of HC in our game and ensure to the best of our ability that that does not occur. This is the single best answer that CRS has to work with. And so I hope that we're ready for that and cooperatively work together to ensure that World War II Online continues to have a high command and continues to be player led. This is the answer that we have. We're pretty much out of options. And I don't want it to be disrespectful to our current HC. The few people that are in HC have shouldered a tremendous burden. And for that, we are grateful. As someone who personally served 8 years in HC, I want you to know that this is important to me. This is our last, resort to do this. But I want you to look at the bright side, and that is think about people being in a position to react when no one is on. I'm getting text messages. I got a text message last night. No, it was Friday night, excuse me, at dinner with my wife. And I had a great player who I've known for many years text me and said, dude, there's nobody online. It's Friday night. What is going on? Now that guy is going to be in a position to do something because he said, give me OIC, have somebody log in, give me OIC. So that's how we need to look at this. Everyone who's a lieutenant colonel is our top player rank is now becoming an OIC. That's the best way to look at this. All right. Thanks for listening. Corn, you have some great work with regards to this upcoming release, 136.14.0. And if you guys don't know Corn, he's one of our original rats who just recently came back. We are so excited that he's back. And he's been working very closely with Hatch to fix some of these anti-tank and anti-aircraft guns that have been long plagued with random weird problems. Corn, I'd like you to introduce yourself to the people who may not know you and then immediately dive into your stuff. And then Hatch, we're going to have you do a follow-up with your stuff next. So Corn, go ahead.
Well, I want to say hello to everybody. Glad to be back. As Zoom said, I was one of the original developers of this game. Been around doing a bunch of things between the time after leaving and coming back when I was invited to do so with Zoom and Hatch. And I got to join up with a bunch of new, really talented people. And it's pretty exciting because everyone's got a lot of passion for the project like it was supposed to be in the old days. That being said, I've been working on some problem child AT and AA weapons. And I'll just go ahead and jump in right now and just give you guys a look at what's going on and give an explanation as we go. So first thing we're going to look at, this is the French M5. Everybody's probably familiar with this one. Had a number of problems with it, inertia things. So you used to be able to slip it back and forth and it would slide from one side to the other building inertia. That doesn't happen anymore. Cleaned up a lot of the deployment stuff. Was focusing a lot on making sure these guns are no longer just rolling over and sinking under the earth when you're being towed. Bringing the gameplay back to them that makes it a lot more fun to operate the weapons. But if you also look now when they deploy, they don't just float above the ground. The spades are in the ground, dug in the way it should be. And a lot of the benefits that we get out of this is now when you fire the weapon, it jumps, but it doesn't slide. So you don't have to keep repositioning all the time, which is cool. We did things like fixing the sliding from the recoil, the sliding inertia when you're moving, and tipping behind the trucks. I know I just hit all of that, but that was on the 2-pounder, the MLE 38 and UK, the Flak 30, Flak 38, Pack 36. There used to be a problem with the Flak 30 when you would push it, it would just start nosing over. You'd have to deploy to recover that. Well, that doesn't happen anymore. Now you can take your gun out and move it wherever you want, position it, and not have to worry about it tipping. It works on pretty much any incline that it should now. Before, you used to be able to take it up any incline and it would just tip over if you were able to get it out of the garage safely. As you can see now, it handles these just fine. So it's been a lot of fun. We also did some neat things like the recoil will now visibly stay with the barrel when you're shooting, as opposed to just floating off in the middle of nowhere. And having it's best to be showing that one on the Emily 38, but the gunner's eyesight tracking the gun, that kind of thing, because it used to be a real pain in the ass before. If you were trying to find any of your, let me collapse this down a second. If you were trying to find any targets, in your gun sight, you couldn't just spot them outside and drop in, you would lose them. That's not the case now. So now when we deploy it, go to the gun sight or the gunner's position, and your eye tracks the barrel now, as opposed to it just dropping away. So you can obviously see it's going to be a lot more fun to be able to track and shoot a target. And again, you can see the guns don't jump around and slide on the ground now when you shoot them. So it was a big journey, but got a bunch of things fixed. And working at this point, last thing I'm doing is wrapping up and getting the guns so that they don't clip in through the walls anymore.
All right. Is that it?
Yeah, pretty much that's what I've got right now. I don't want to run through each of the guns because that would take a little bit, but the ones that are hit right now that are slated for this release are going to be the Flak 38, the Flak 30 2-pounder, MLE 38, and the UK MLE 38, the Pack 36 as well. And
Right.
what's that? The M5, the French M5.
Roger that. Okay. Lots of good stuff. For a long time, our players have been requesting that these guns get audited. This is one of the very first thing that Hatch assigned to Corn, and they've been doing some good work. This is important. Things like towing these guns, they're not flipping over and going nutso anymore. So lots of important stuff. It will very much improve your consistent usage in the game with them. So be aware of that. That's good. With that being said, Hatch, are you ready? Is Hatch here? I swear I saw him earlier. Okay. We will get back to that and figure out where Hatch is.
I'm here. I'm just trying to get
Oh, you got the
I'm
dog there. Okay, I couldn't see your name. Okay.
trying to get screens oriented and all that kind of crap.
Oh,
So
let me get you co-host too so you can share. Great. Okay.
all right, let's see.
All right.
Okay, so man, there's the presentation, or my part's going to be a little bit light. I'm primarily spread across 4 different efforts, helping Corn with the guns, working with Megan to work out some glitches with lighting and such on some of our new vehicles and such, and then working full bore to get the majority or all of the vehicles that are in the timeline over on the webpage implemented by the end of the year. I'll go ahead and share the last one I've been working on, which Boom Boom put together about 4 or 5 different models specifically with this that pertain to this particular release. One of them, we have the M3 half track. One of them is a regular half track that's going to be, Zoom can get into details later if how those can be employed as opposed to this tank destroyer with a 75mm gun on it. And so I'm just in there straightening up the models, making sure articulations for different things work properly, like wheels and when you blow parts off, the right pieces go away rather than not, and stuff like that. Let's see here. Let's see. Not out of work. So you know, you get the fidelity of the different pieces and not so on and so forth. Also making sure that in all the internal parts of the vehicle are linked properly, so you can see all the different objects that a projectile will interact with and their different values, your internal objects and your external objects. The colors are the different thicknesses, values that they have. And we've currently, the one I have loaded only has, I think it only has this one in it. Let me see what else we have. Yeah, this one that I was working on just for the meeting, I don't have the, we also are putting in universal carrier and Lorraine, two different versions of the universal carrier, two different versions of Lorraine, one with the gun, one without. That's much like this one. I don't even have the non-gun version of this one in here right now. So anyhow, that's been my world recently, and we're getting real close to pushing this out there and giving you guys some new toys to play with.
So keep your screen share on for a second and just kind of keep looking around for these guys. I want to explain what first off, Hatch has been, please give that guy a round of applause on your own in some capacity, some kudos. He's been putting in stupid hours to try and get this stuff done for you guys. And also, Boom Boom, give him some props too for the hard work he's done from a modeling perspective to get this completed. Together, this duo, which is increasing, is helping us be able to produce new content for you guys. Consistent with our roadmap for 2021, this M3 half track, as well as the anti-tank gun variant available for not only the US, but also the French forces, the two universal carriers for England, the 251 with the PAC 36 on the front with an MG34 in the rear. Do you have that in here? Can you pull it up for them to see?
Which one?
The new 251.
I actually think that's over on. No, I think I can get it loaded up pretty quick though.
Okay, go ahead and do that. I think it'd be cool to let the Axis see something too. Anyways, this is all consistent with roadmap deliveries for you guys. And I just want to emphasize, when we make a roadmap commitment, it is our intention to do everything in our power to follow through on them. These items, these APCs that you're looking at, with it comes the, sorry, I'm getting distracted by a screen share. We are trying to get this all. I'm like, dude, there's proprietary stuff there. What are you doing?
I gotta go get my number.
Yeah. So what we're looking at here is everything going into 136.14, which is important for us here. So it's all these, basically everything you're looking in that list right there. But this 251 is really cool to check out. We'll give him a moment to review that and find it. Hatch, I'm going to temporarily kill your screen share because I don't feel comfortable with some of that stuff on there. Anyways, we are working on getting these APCs out there for you fairly soon. And with it are going to come some additional gameplay changes. Boom Boom, would you like to talk about, while we're waiting for Hatch to get that 251 up, the upcoming changes that we talked about with Blackhawk and the community management team with the fortified mobile spawn, what can place it, and why we're doing that?
Yeah, well, in brief, we all know the game situation where we have fast deployment from a forward base to the town perimeter, and you set up your forward mobile spawn and overwhelm your not present defender for a battle that will be kind of lopsided in a way. We're trying to change that in a little bit, bit by or piece by piece or step by step, by having our armored personnel carriers or armored vehicles in case of the French to be able to deploy the standard forward mobile spawn, the fortified one where you can spawn ATGs and stuff, all the heavy guys, and keeping or rather removing that ability from your standard trucks and giving the trucks, or having them keep the ability to move or to place light mobile spawns and the trench mobile spawn objects. So the trucks will be the more light carriers, whereas the APCs, when they're all in the game, will be able to put in more heavy stuff in. So you have two different classes of vehicles with two different sets of tasks, in short.
Yeah. So we're looking forward to doing that. It should be should really help out gameplay. Hatch, are you ready for the 251?
I'm loading. So
Okay.
another minute and a half.
Okay. No problem.
I'd add to that and say that, as you know, the half tracks are a bit more noisy. They are a bit slower than the trucks, so you have a slower progress of battle if you're using half tracks only. If you start your battle with trucks and place the lighter kind of spawns, you'll still keep your pace of attack, if you like. But your heavy stuff will be a bit slower in terms of a couple of minutes in getting to the battle or the zone of control, if you like. So what we're trying to do is to slow down the pace of battle just a little bit to get a more, realistic pace of battle, where also the defender gets a chance to deploy at least some of his assets in time.
All right. That was a good minute. You ready? Hatch?
Hold on.
Let me cue the Jeopardy music. One moment.
Da, na, na, na. We're still loading. It's probably because I've got so much stuff.
About the FMS setting APCs now. They will be slower, but they will also be more protected because it takes a bit more effort to defeat a 251 or an M3 or the Loren, which is a bit slower, but also have much lower profiles. It's harder to hit. So you need to have your ATRs and your anti-tank guns to defeat these heavy guys where they're setting their forward mobile spawns. Trucks will be easy to defeat as always, but you'll need a bit more effort to defeat the APCs. I think that's good for gameplay.
I would agree.
Come on, Hatch. You can do it.
I can't make it go any faster.
All right. I
Well,
thought I'd bring a little bit of
I got
comical relief.
I got two versions running right now. I got the old version and this version.
Okay.
So I don't know.
I'll tell you
if
what.
That's
We're gonna switch gears here. We will get back to this. I am going to Mesozoic. Are you there?
Yeah, I'm right here.
Okay. Let me introduce you to the community and get your screen share ready to go. Get everything ready. Everybody, meet Mesozoic. He's our new animator for infantry stuff. Today we've been deadlocked with our infantry production for a long time. This is a big deal.
Hey.
So please greet him with it kindly and all that. Mesozoic, screen share and show them what you're doing because they have no idea.
I'm making a last minute adjustments. So
why are you doing that now? These artists.
I wasn't. I didn't know I'd be showing this much. So
Okay.
we're fixing that. So hi, I'm Mr. I work on infantry stuff. We're got a lot of cool stuff to show.
Is that your official title now?
Oh, I've always been Mesozoic mystery.
No, Mr. I work on infantry stuff now.
Oh yeah, sure.
Okay.
I work on infantry stuff now.
Okay. I have a feeling we're going to be doing a lot of this today. We'll get there, guys.
That's okay. I'm turning. it on
Everything
now.
went fine at rehearsal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It did.
Well, you know, assume this might be the chance to roll out the choral project theme.
Yeah. All right. So, yes, if by that you mean it takes time to get some stuff done. Yes, it does. Yes, it does.
And it crashed. Cool. What is going on?
All right. I didn't really want to bust out my source tree here, but do I need to do that to show them the in-game version?
Yeah, show them the in-game version. I'll talk about it. It's suddenly not working for me.
You're killing me, Smalls. But hold on. I need a. Oh, I've actually got a bunch of stuff in progress. So you can't pull up 3ds Max?
Hold on. I just need to change something quick. There, that should fix it.
Okay. All right. Oh, Eagle says back to Jeopardy. Okay. You can thank Eagle for this. I think it's starting to catch on, guys. Maybe we can get the epic sax guy coming next.
I love that guy.
Yeah, he's good.
And with Gandalf, best team.
All right, man. You got to show us something.
I'm showing you something in a second. It's actually loading now.
This is what it's like behind the scenes at CRS, just so you guys know. Welcome aboard, everybody.
Well, game just decides to crap on me at the last second.
Pull up. Listen, just pull up 3ds Max and show them that.
That's what we're doing.
Okay.
All right. So let's show an equal animation then.
That's just to keep them going.
Hey, Zoom, there are some questions here that people are trying to ask that might be something we could take a question on.
Give me one. Give me one. Just read it.
Okay. Jay Coog wants to know, when will the audio be distance based instead of how high you have your volume turned up?
Well, there is some.
Thought it already was.
Audio. Yeah, there is 3D positional audio. Buy a better headset.
So is that akin to downloading more RAM? So, okay.
Yeah, something like that. We have 3D positional audio. So yeah, but at this stage, there's no active engine development work taking place on audio, nor will there be on this current version, because we're moving to Unreal, which we're going to get to. We're going to talk about that, but not yet. Next question.
Somebody mentioned shotguns and artillery.
No shotguns. Kind of cool. Artillery, server tracked objects, no effort. If it's not on the roadmap, we're probably not actively working on it. That's not always true, but we're not currently working on that. Mrs. Oak, whenever you're ready, pop open your screen share and get it up. We're waiting for you.
It's opening now.
Okay.
There was one question regarding HE, specifically regarding the 75 millimeter and 88 high explosive rounds for the Panzer IIIN and the 88. How are we approaching that?
They have them. So what's the specific question? I mean,
I guess they just had a question in regards to impacting the infantry that's nearby in good terms of our shrapnel. I know that Kartik had worked on that. And then he had a question regarding HE from the 88 not doing damage. Boom Boom's answering, so I'll let him take care of that.
So to be clear, we not only did an HE audit, then in addition to that, Kartik did do something dealing with aircraft regarding HE. As well as I think vehicles in general and how it should bounce off it now. But, you know, we've already increased the boom level, if you will, the number of fragments they push out over the years. So I am not interested in doing any more audits because they're time consuming. They piss people off and, you know, it's just not great. All right. here we go. Thanks for being patient, everybody.
So here we have an updated M1. I know that. So here's the deal. We have two guns technically set up. We have both are variations of the M1. We have the M1A1 carbine and the basic M1. Same thing, basic carbine. But one has, as this one, we have one with a stock and one with a collapsible stock. Currently don't have the collapsible stock open yet, and I could probably show you that later. But yeah, all the animations have been implemented into this. We got a running, a sprint, we got a crawl animation, and we got all sorts of firing animations. Everything's in place for this gun to be implemented in our next patch.
Right. So as he said there, you're looking at the M1 carbine, which has the full stock. That's the regular one. And then the M1A1 is the collapsible stock for the paratrooper. This M1 full stock was a last minute toss in here because we wanted to maintain authenticity, because most of the time the regular Joes didn't run around with the paratrooper variant, obviously. Now, for sure, in this coming update, 136.14, the M1A1, the paratrooper variant, is going to be in there. We are trying to do what we can to get the M1 carbine, this one, for the regular ground troops. Now, both of those will be available exclusively to the US forces, obviously, in Tier 3. Okay, so that's what's to be expected right now. We know that the Allies have been waiting for this for a long time. We did push out the Sturmgewehr. There was a little bit more work that we wanted to get done for that for the Germans. We pushed that out with the recognition that at that time we didn't have an animator, but it was mostly complete. We may go back to that and do some third-person animation fixes. But this M1A1 is this is a big deal. This is understanding that our infantry pipeline for World War II Online version 1 is no longer deadlocked. Now, your next question might be, yeah, what about that 30 caliber, the M1919? Immediately following the M1A1 and M1 carbine will be the production and continuation of the 30 caliber. So just be aware of that. Our intention is to get all three of these weapons in before this year's end. That is our goal. Outside of that, there's no other plans for the remainder of this year. The reason we're focusing on these is because these are commitments that we made to you that we are compelled to deliver on. Any other last things here, Mesozoic, or is that it?
No, I can show some of the M1A1 stuff, because this is the M1 stuff, and I
think it's good. The animations are mostly the same. In fact, they're nearly the same. The only difference is the stock, and we've got more people to get to. So don't sweat it.
So
help you. Should be able to help you with this.
I'm gonna stop sharing
I got
and
you.
change up my screen.
Once again, thanks for all the hard work there, guys. This is great. We're back in the infantry content business. That's what this means. All right. Hatch, do you have that available?
I'm up.
Okay, let's do a screen share from you. We're going to go back to that 251 half track for the Germans coming out in this next release. This is what's expected. Okay. Here it is. Boom, boom. While he's walking around this, talk to him about it. You're the guy who built this artwork, so tell him what's going on. You're currently muted.
Yeah, right. So the 25110/10, you have your 37mm pack. Standard pack, which we just plonked down on the 251 SDKZ. Pretty simple port, but nothing is ever simple in this game or in this development because you have to have your crew dug down, and we're currently working on that one for the before we release this one. So having the crew get down in cover without looking absolutely strange. One new thing that you'll notice here is you have your rearward facing gunner with the MG34 using the pintle as it was supposed to be. So Hash, if you can just hold there or switch to position 5, I think.
4.
4, right. So now you can lay down some covering fire or retreating fire, whatever you like. It works pretty nice.
That MG34 is from the base infantry model too. It should be noted that's an upgrade compared to the existing 251, as well as the crew members looking like our standard infantry. I imagine we'll be getting to that regular 251 to update those as well, hopefully in the not so distant future. All right.
All right, well, that's pretty much all I have, really.
251 with a pack on it. Heck yeah. It's going to be awesome. That's a tier 0 weapon, right? Tier 1.
Don't think
tier
so.
1.
Tier 1. Yeah. Okay. My bad.
I think. Oh, I got to check. I think it's tier 1.
Yeah. I mean, it would make sense. If that's when the regular 251 comes out, it'll come out with that, right?
Yeah, well, actually, this is, this is a squad support vehicle or platoon support vehicle. So 1 in 4 251s should be the support one.
And just to be clear, I think our QA guys did test this. We can have infantry right inside of this, right?
Yeah, currently there are 4 spaces, but I think I'm going to reduce that to 2 because it's kind of cramped down there.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Well, this is great. Awesome. We're gonna keep moving. We got a lot going on. Good collaboration there. All of these APCs are going to be in the next game update. It's going to be awesome. And with those mobile spawn deployment changes, it means something. It's going to be a bit more valuable. So good work there. All right. That concludes our updates for version 1. We're now going to switch gears to version 2, World War II Online 2.0. We're going to be talking about our efforts in model conversions. We're going to be starting off with MKW. Then immediately following that, we're going to go to Mike Mudd, and we're going to talk about how we're trying to replicate the large game world integral to World War II Online's game design. So, and then we'll go to Chokepoint after that. MKW, floor is yours.
Okay. All right. So I have been working on the FLT conversion process. Let me share my screen. Okay. So one of the biggest hurdles we just crossed was getting our vehicles in the game or in Unreal, which is huge. I'll show you right now. Super easy. Honestly, a couple clicks, they're in. They come with their textures, materials, model, their hierarchy, their degrees of freedom, their LODs, all the information that they need to work, which is awesome. Because that was a big hurdle, just getting that DOF information out of the FLT and into Unreal. And you guys already saw a little bit of that conversion process with the demo, but that was just the buildings. Buildings super simple, not nearly as complex as vehicles. And just the fact that we now are able to do this is awesome. And
can you show them in real time, selecting a different vehicle and then running it through that process from beginning to end so they can see that?
You mean just like importing it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see.
So as you're doing that, I'm going to talk for just a minute. Guys, this has never been done before. We have kind of a knack at CRS for doing some pretty bold stuff. And as you just saw right there, the amount of work that it takes to actually make that occur is quite extraordinary. This has been one of our key prerequisites in order to validate the move over to Unreal. And this is a big deal. I want you to take away from this that all of our vehicles in World War II Online coming over is big. It will save us thousands of man hours in having to build everything that's inside of them. And Megan, on the upper right there, actually expand that Matilda like you just had it.
Oh, yeah.
So that file, it says Matilda, and then just kind of scroll down, show them everything inside of there. Inside of here is all of the details for how this thing moves. It's armored components, it's armor rather, it's components, the measurements, the details, everything you need to make this model work. Now multiply this by the hundreds of vehicles that we have in World War II Online. That is what this is helping us do. And that we've actually had some players go, why in God's green earth do you guys even care about bringing these models over? Why don't you just build them from the ground up? Well, here's why. We can actually bring over our stuff and retain the fidelity, all of the historical stuff, the thousands of man hours that have already gone into this already. And then we can just upgrade the mesh, the model. So we can make it look brand new and pretty. We'll get to that point. But key one is let's just get there. We got to get on this engine. We got to unlock this capability. Having to rebuild the entire game from the ground up is outside of not only our resource capabilities, but outside of the realm of reality for us to deliver on this. Also, your expectations as players who want this done in some reasonable, sometime this decade, probably, yeah, sooner the better. So key one is these conversions. Let's get there. Then we'll be able to have more people to be able to work on it because they're familiar in working in Unreal Engine. We can make real-time modifications to the models and make it look better, but that happens later. So don't discount this just because it looks like the same vehicles. The fact that they're in the Unreal Engine is a big ass deal. Okay. All right, Megan, anything else you got here, or is that it?
Nope, that was it.
Okay, cool. Let's kill your screen share, and then we're going to go over to Mike Mudd. Mike Mudd, screen share whenever you're ready. Oh, and if you can, give him a bit of a briefing on what you're doing.
Okay. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
So what I've been looking at is a couple of the fairly severe challenges with Unreal Engine, and that is the large map and how we would go about not having to hand tool and handcraft the entire map. One of those things is to be able to generate a map and the terrain with code rather than having to hand tool. And the other big challenges was how to ensure that the terrain is loaded and unloaded as you move through the map. One of the features of the current game is that if you had the time and the patience, you could start at one end of the map and move all the way through to the other end without having to despawn. So at the beginning, we looked at Unreal Engine 4. Didn't see much that was conducive to that. We then looked at the Unreal 5 early access, and that seemed to offer a way forward with a thing called World Partition. Now, what World Partition does is it treats a map of whatever size you want as a single level, and you can then use the Unreal Engine 5's built-in feature of terrain loading and unloading. It does that all for you, which I can show you in a sec. And we also looked at how to place terrain objects using custom actors and various bits of code. So I'll share my screen and we'll walk through bits of that. And hopefully the lag down to all the way down south to Melbourne isn't going to be too bad. So you should be seeing part of the town of Denont, which was used for the Unreal Engine demo that Zoom and the production team put together earlier in the year. So I've taken part of that and converted it to the Unreal Engine 5. Now, Unreal Engine 5 with World Partition, we'll try and demonstrate that, as well as the ability to dynamically place terrain objects. So if I can move around a little bit here.
I also want to make a quick comment. You're going to see some floating particles and effects. Disregard that. That's not essential here. That's just a bug we need to work out, but pay attention to the rest of it. That's all.
Yeah. So you can see that that there's nothing there but grass and some trees in the background. So what we have is some code. And I don't want to confuse everybody too much with this, but this is a piece of code which takes a tree static mesh and places it into the terrain after you've start the game. So if we run this, you can now see that there's a tree. Very simple thing, but once you can place one, you can generate 500,000 if you wanted to, all with code. All you need are the assets, the static meshes, and you can place whole sections of terrain and map using those features. The other thing I want to show, and this may overload the graphics a little, is the terrain loading and unloading feature. There's a debugger's toggle here, which you can use, and it will show a section of the map based on a grid, which you can set. The cell size is 10 meters. The loading range is 100 meters. And as you move through the map, you can see, excuse if this is a bit jerky, but the red square down at the towards the middle bottom left is a terrain feature that's gone out of scope, out of sight. And as you move through this map, you'll see things being unloaded down at the towards the bottom right of the square, the grid, and that will that shows you that it's being unloaded, and as you go backwards through the map, it'll get brought in and reloaded. I'm going to turn that off to show you a little bit more. That. So as you can, I've set this range pretty low so that you can see how. Just bear with me a second. And as you move through, you'll be able to see various buildings coming in and out of focus.
Mike, is it possible to get maybe a little bit more altitude? Because we're so close to the ground, it's kind of hard to see these buildings loading and unloading.
So you can see that tree coming in and out of focus. Just let my...
Yeah, so just to be clear, what Mike is trying to demonstrate to you here, those loading and unloading of assets, is really important. We kind of do that already in World War II Online. That's what allows you to move throughout a large game world without having to keep all the assets loaded. It's just kind of like a level of detail, really. So in this case, he's showing you this tree or buildings. These terrain objects. Will also be looking to figure out how we can do this with the actual terrain tiles as well. We're not quite at that point yet, but this is the fact that we have this means to be able to load and unload things. This was our second critical objective and our most important as it pertains to doing the large game world. This has just now been made available through Unreal 5, which is the basis of World War II Online 2.0. We're just not going to start off with 4. This demo was built in 4. We're just going to go straight to 5, which is in early access. So it's a little bit slow here on this computer, just simply because it's not entirely optimized. That's not his fault or the expected final result of how this engine performs. Okay.
So you can see how how things come in and out of focus, focus. And if you apply that to a large landscape terrain, you can set this to kilometers, which I think one of the aims is to have that viewer set, I think, at about 2.5 kilometers. There is another feature of world partition, which we haven't quite got to yet. I'll just stop this. And that is hierarchic levels of detail. We haven't explored that at the moment, but that then offers another feature of having landscape and terrain coming in and out of focus.
Awesome.
That's really about it. But again, this code here is very important because you can generate this code with other code. And one of the aims that we have is to have terrain and terrain objects, and therefore the map generated out of static files. So for example, with a JSON format or something like that. And then we can run a preprocessor, which basically generates these C++ files, which then get compiled into the game. That's the aim, so that instead of having to hand place objects and build up the map like a jigsaw puzzle the way that the production guys do at the moment, it can all be done via just generating blocks of code out of files that describe the various terrain tiles and the actors that are spawned in, are generated in the map. So that's about it. That's what I wanted to show you.
Great. Well, thanks, Mike. Really appreciate that. The key point near the end there was getting as much of this done procedurally or with code for that matter is really important so that we don't overload and overburden our production team placing objects down manually. The world generation, if we do this correctly, and is our aim, is to be done through code / algorithm to produce it. If we do it correctly, that's the way it will be done, and it'll be great. So what Mike is doing there is vital to the world size and generation for World War II Online 2.0. So I'm glad you guys got to see that. That's important stuff. We have not yet announced that progress in any articles. So if you're here, you got the first word. Good job. Listen, that concludes what we're talking about with World War II Online 2.0. We have Stefan here. Stefan is the project team lead for World War II Online Chokepoint. He's the team lead for Wing 2 at CRS. He's got some stuff to show you that's pretty cool with what's going on with Chokepoint. In fact, there's a play test going on right now, probably. You can become a hero builder to start playing Chokepoint. Just had to throw that out there. Stefan, are you here? Oh, no. There he is.
I can find my controls. Yes, I am.
He was scrambling. Okay.
Well, I cleaned up my desktop so I can present it. And then everything was gone.
That's a good idea. Let me give you co-host so you can share your screen. So be sure just to give the guys a briefing of what these things are, how they're going to help, and all that. So the floor is yours.
All right. I will totally share because I'm prepared, a PowerPoint, like every good presenter. And now there is, do you guys happen to see this weird window?
We do, yes.
Okay, so you see PowerPoint and then, I can close this one. All right, never mind. So telemetry, that's the first thing I'll be showing to you today, or well, how to bore people with data, because not everyone will quite immediately understand what it is, but I'll give my best to explain it. I'm also selling it to the rest of the team right now, so you're in for a treat. And well, the mantra is basically what doesn't get measured doesn't improve. And well, yeah, if you want to improve a game, you need to know where it's not playing well and why. And for that reason, we do measure for Chokepoint specifically right now, where people are spawning and how often they die, and if they die, who killed them, with what weapon, etc. We do track where they're moving, which is revealing quite some nice things already. I'll show you in a second what, for example. Tracking stuff like explosions and objective state changes, of course, because in the end, I want to be able, or I am currently already able to replay an entire round of a Chokepoint map and see exactly what happened and where and why and when and who done it. So the thing you are seeing now here is, for example, on one of our maps, the Death Heat map from last week's playtest. It's probably relatively self-explanatory. The big red chunks is where tons of people died in the same place. So that's basically a choke point. If you get the reference to the project's name, you're spot on. The light blue stuff is, yeah, some people died here, and the green to yellow is, okay, there's stuff going on, but it's not the core focus of where people are dying. Well, this basically already helps us determine whether there are any choke points in the map, and I really do hope there are ones, because we designed them that way. And we can tell, are the choke points where we want them to be, or are they entirely elsewhere because players are just playing it in a different way than we anticipated? And in that case, well, back to the drawing board. And are the deaths scattered across the map without any reason? But yeah, then you're in trouble too. If that happens too often, then you'll get too many people complaining that they get shot from positions they can't tell. And then, well, back to the drawing board again. So we definitely have a good use for this tool already. So this is how we balance our objectives. And I also, as I told you previously, I can tell exactly where things happened and who done it. Here you can see one of the instances where someone was hiding behind this wall at some point in the game, had shot someone else relatively far away, which can give you quite valuable data about where do people like to hide, where do they like to set up their defenses. And well, you can basically replay the whole thing and see where do things cluster up and where they don't. As I already said, we're also tracking paths and movement to see, are there any preferred paths? And I can already tell you, yes, there are. Some of these are already dark red, and some are just faint blue. They're getting completely ignored. I can also tell where people are camping, which in this game isn't necessarily a bad thing because one team is defending. And that way we know, where are people defending? Are they defending where we think they're defending, or are they defending somewhere else and might benefit from another sandbag, for example? We can also see where there's exploit spots and hidden corners where people are just doing dumb stuff like, well, hiding in the dark where no one else can see them and getting 20 kills with 2 deaths. And while that might be impressive, it's also incredibly frustrating for everyone else, sorry. So we can tell where that's happening without having to play it all the time ourselves. So this is our main tool to balance the paths between the objectives. And it's looking like this. And as you can already see, there's many dark blue faint paths scattered across the map. That's where a few single players kept moving because they were probably clever and flanked everyone else who was on the bright yellow and red paths. So yeah, I'm saying that quite often. As you can see, there's one particular spot I want to bring your attention to. I hope you can see my mouse. It's in the
We can see it.
Center right screen here. The next screenshot will reveal what it is and what I said a minute ago, actually. Someone here was clever enough to get past these barricades, which are actually, they are not meant to be bypassed, and managed to shoot people from positions where I don't want them to shoot from because that's outside the map. And this tool has helped me identify this spot. So that's cool. Not cool that we missed it, but cool that we found it now. That was, I would say, 4 weeks of work well invested just to find that one spot. What else are we tracking? We're tracking explosions, because who doesn't want to know where explosions are happening? And the objective state changes, so we can tell, does it take 5 minutes for the first objective on that map, or does it take 15, or does it take 30? And if it's taking 15 or 30, then we're probably in deep trouble, because with the average round length of 45 minutes or so, and 5 objectives, you don't want your first objective to take too long. And well, we can track literally whatever else we desire once we come up with the need to track it. That's the first part. The second part will be a lot shorter, but just as cool. It's just not as functional yet, because I'm returning to working on it, and that is our character customization. And the first iteration of the character customization will include helmets. So you get to pick one of the historically correct helmets on your unit. You get to pick faces. Right now, that's a lot of developer faces. So if you feel like you want to run around as me, you can do that. Or if you feel like you have a bone to pick with one of us, you pick their face and get shot a lot. Maybe that's your thing. You can also customize your grenade count and the primary weapon within the limitations of your class. And in this case, you can see you see helmet slot, your face slot, and well, there's a lot of helmets next to the weapons, which is simply I haven't set that up yet, but once you get to play it, yeah, you'll see an image of the weapon and an image of your grenades, and you can select the count. And maybe I'll get an artist to make this thing beautiful, because I'm not much of an artist and my UI looks like that. And that is basically all I have to show you today. And the beauty of this system is, as a lot of things I'm doing, they are cross-compatible between all the projects we're working on. So if this in one way, this audio telemetry really in one way or another needs to go into one of the other games, and that's what's happening. And that concludes my screen share.
All right. Great stuff. Great stuff. Guys, I hope you're feeling this. The last time we've officially come out to a rat chat with you was on our anniversary. And there we kind of put a line in the sand to say, look, this is the future. This is what we're working towards. Now we've kept you up to date in bits and pieces, but this is a pretty good review on those things. I hope that this is encouraging to you, that you're feeling this, that you're excited about this, and that we've continued to garner your support, which is absolute priority to be able to not only achieve on this, but additional things. I'm going to come right out of the gate and address the 2 aircraft that are on our roadmap. I've seen questions about it throughout the chat. This is about the Ju-88 as well as the Wellington. We have not forgotten about those. We fully intend to complete those before this year's end. That's all I can say right now, other than they're actively in progress. Okay, so that is our goal, to get them done before this year ends. With that being said, thank you to all of our presenters and everyone who's here. We're going to transition to hopefully about a 20-minute. We will no doubt close out by the top of this next hour, no matter what. But hopefully we can try and do a Q&A. I'd like our community management team to take point on this, and then for everyone else who's either a developer or a producer to be on standby to answer the questions that our players have. So Tex, I'd like you to take point, and you can designate your team to help in any capacity you'd like. Go ahead.
Thank you, Zoom. Guys, I also want to thank all you guys for being here this afternoon. That's neat stuff to kind of get to see what's happening behind the curtain. Waver, keep me on point here. I think one of the previous questions that were asked was regarding uniform and animations. And with Mesozoic coming online, that would be some help. But could he answer that, or Zoom, would you be the person to ask that?
Specifically, what is the question?
It was regarding to the return of the HC uniforms and the salute function.
Okay, I can answer that. The return of the HC uniform is not impossible, but it's not my top priority for our team. I understand as someone who really enjoyed the High Command Officer uniform, having that, but it's not just a matter of modeling or animation. In addition to all that, there's a permissions-based system, which is no longer existing. I think we have the old code for it disabled somewhere. There's nothing to suggest that re-enabling it is going to make it work. We also did have one of our developers look into bringing back some of those animations. Sniper, I'm forgetting that gentleman's name. You know who I'm talking about?
Yeah, I thought it was Nick, wasn't it?
Nick M, that's it. What was his main holdup there? What do you recall it? Because he spent like 3 to 6 months on it, if I remember right.
Yeah, I think it all came down to the actual animations needed to be fixed or tweaked in order to work with the updated infantry.
Okay. So as of the remainder of this year, not a priority. I need to get these M1 carbines out. Those are going to be happening. You just saw them in game. That's a very good sign that they're close. Immediately following is going to be the 30 caliber for the rest of the year. That's what we're committing to for infantry development. As our team works to, which we normally do throughout January, and we normally list out our following year's roadmap in January, predominantly because we want to understand what we've closed out on and what we have to add to, and what our team's capabilities and interests are, as well as the communities, of course. That's really our priority when we say that. But with our existing roadmap reference, or now as of our anniversary anyways, referencing our efforts to get on 2.0, it's very possible that we'll have a relatively light roadmap because we need to develop into the future. We want to continue to provide active service to this game and make sure it stays alive and that you guys are entertained, but the future and increasing our customer base through new people is our priority. So our roadmap this coming year might just be, hey, we're going to do everything we can to deliver on getting to the future and keeping it like that. For the last several years, we've been very specific about this item, that item, and we've had people busting our chops all years, and rightfully so, about JU88, when's it going to be here? When's it going to be here? When's it going to be here? So it's like, okay, we need to buy ourselves some grace because that kind of pressure doesn't help. We understand it, but we don't want to shoot ourselves in the foot. I'm planting a seed there intentionally that there may not be a full-blown roadmap for this coming year, like we've seen in the last few. Anyway, probably more than you wanted. Tex, sorry, I'll step back. Go ahead.
No, that's fine. I was just curious if you wanted me to take questions that's been typed out here or raised hand feature, because
however you want. However you want. You can teach them about how to raise their hands and we can hear from them directly. We would have to give them permission to speak. My only request is specifically to the LEMS, who has 13 plus questions, one at a time, and then we'll get to other people and then we'll come back to you if we got time for that.
Okay, well, let me ask one more text question there so I can scroll up and see who's going to be next here, because I want to be efficient with people's times. Gazoo has a question here in regards to, you may see in the open questions in regards to new aircraft rides for across all services that are only 2 were available. Why was this number changed, and is there a plan to address this or to review it? That sounds like an Ohm question. Ohm, are you there still?
Okay, go ahead.
I am here. All right. What was the question about? What piece? It caught me off suppliers.
No, it's fine. It's in regards to pilots and recruits have at the moment limited aircraft, only 2 available for each air service. And why was this number changed? And is there a plan to fix it?
For recruits?
Is the question about the number of those units in supply, or is it that these lower ranked guys only have access to a couple rides?
Correct. That second part.
Okay, so
I can answer
why
that
do
one.
recruits or low ranking guys only have access to 2 rides and not everything else? That's what they're asking.
Yeah, well, this is actually a case in tier 3 where we're trying to scale down the number of platforms because we're introducing the late war crates, so we want to scale down on the non-competitive early war crates, and that's why you have fewer 109E1s or E3s, I can't remember, E1s, yeah, and Hawk 75s and all those, because they just don't cut it against the opposition. And that's a long-standing request that we've had from our community, and that's what we've implemented. But we're working on the spawn lists continuously. We might be able to, or we'll absolutely consider increasing the amounts of aircraft available for recruits, even in tier 3. It's always at a cost.
Okay, let's move forward. Tex, you're muted. You got another question for us?
Yeah, I muted myself by accident as I was scrolling through. Yeah, Fox 14 has a question. And let me scroll back here and get him. If you can get there too faster than I can to the participants. We've got 81 here to give him mic access here.
Dilem's has his hand up and is in a position to ask a question. Do we want to take that while we're doing that?
That's fine. He can go.
All right, Dilem's one question, please. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you for, can you hear me?
Yes.
Thank you for the change target. That's a great feature, so I hope that keeps getting worked. Second question you saw was the USA tank numbers. My third question, I'm sure you probably know.
I think you just muted yourself. Again, let's stick to one question.
One question, please. Right.
My question, this one is, where is the status of the interworld bug?
Okay. All right. So the status of the interworld bug. Sniper, I don't have any idea on that one. I'll give it to you if there's nothing. Okay. I'm not sure.
I think you're talking about the gray button.
Yeah,
you
when
gotta
they
hit it
spam it and then it goes
a
gray.
couple times. Yep. No, I know we've talked about it previously, but it has not made it onto the priority list at this time. So that's kind of where we sit.
All right. There you go. Next question.
Sorry, I'm scrolling through here. I guess Fox 14 is left.
Okay. For those of you who are here, our attendees, you should see a raise hand button at the bottom of the user interface here on Zoom meeting. If you have a question, click that. We'll call on you. You can ask it over voice and then we'll answer it. If not, type it out. Now's your time.
I do see a question here from Jens Holmstrom, and I apologize if I did not pronounce that correctly. He was regarding points for destroying EFMSs.
Sniper, I'm going to go back to you on that one. I don't know if we have that.
That kind of falls in the same category as like points for rebuilding AI. There's a ticket for it, just hasn't made it to the priority list at this time.
All right. Cooper, you've got your hand up. You've got access to talk. Ask away.
Yep. Can you hear me?
Yep. Go ahead.
Okay. We have the introduction pending of combining switching mission targets on the go while the mission is running. And I'm looking forward to the implementation of that. And I would suggest that we step up and especially for the Air Force players, make them give them the ability to see other players of the same mission objective, not on the same mission, but on the same mission objective, to see them on the mini map. Because currently we often have the problem that people are flying in different brigades or coming from different airfields, trying to help at a different objective than they originally took off from. And it's often very difficult to coordinate with them as we don't see them on the mini map.
Okay. Good suggestion. We'll add that to the ticket. I believe we had to pull that, right, James 10? We had to pull that. I think that and
yep.
Yeah.
It had to be pulled because it was crashing the server.
Kind of an issue. At this time, we know that needs to be worked on, as well as the bomber loadouts. We haven't forgot about those, but we've been investing a bit of our resources at this time into developing integrated voice communications, because ultimately we needed more feedback from those other two items, and IVC was something that working on pretty aggressively because it represents the single greatest return on investment on dev's roadmap plate right now pertaining to World War II Online 1.0. Cobra, I'm going to allow you to talk. Go ahead and ask your question.
Yeah, I was just wondering, when you go to the in-grade voice comms, I played one game already that has that, and the volume is really super low. You can't hardly hear it. Is it going to be any different in this one, or is it going to be kind of low?
Okay, good question. Sniper, do you want to talk about what sort of settings and toggles we'll have available for them to change the volume?
Yeah, so within the games client itself, you'll have the ability to change both your microphone setting, your input setting, and your output setting for your headphones. And that's going to allow you to turn up in-game voice comms compared to the rest of the game world's sounds. So you can make those separate and allow you to hopefully hear your teammates better than, explosions going on a couple hundred or 1,000 yards away. And then you also have the ability to do that even finer outside the game. So before spawning into the game world. So I think with that spread of controls and being able to control either piece of the puzzle should help out with that instance.
All right, good. Joseph, we're going to give you permission to speak here. Go ahead and ask your question, please. Got to unmute first. There you go. I can't hear you. You are unmuted, but we cannot hear you. Okay. Check at the bottom left of the UI, and there should be an up arrow next to your mute button. Make sure you've got the right microphone selected. We'll get back to you. Meanwhile, we've got another question from Dilems. Just one question, please. Go ahead.
Yes. Can you hear me again?
Yes.
Great. This would be, is there any way we can get a friendly MS auto marker? It would make it much easier for players to spawn, and I get really tired of marking my MS with a boat every 5 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah, good point. Who wants to take that one? I've got nothing on that. All right, great.
with the addition of the recent heads up waypoints and stuff, I think we kind of know where that's done within the code. So I would imagine that whenever a mobile spawn gets placed, adding just another marker onto the map shouldn't be a huge deal. We'll ticket it and we'll have a discussion about it. It's a good idea.
Yeah, that's actually a pretty good idea. Okay, Joseph, we're going to give you a shot again. Joseph, try and unmute. You get your microphone working?
He did type a question. I can read it out. It's PPOs way too easy to destroy by bombers, ! Maybe one bomb destroys one barb, ?
I'd be curious to get some community feedback on that. We don't want to make these mole spawns so powerful that they can't be shut down. But, I mean,
it's not just the mobile spawns, but it's to prevent griefing with the PPOs, such as the barbed wire fences, the sandbags, etc., being surrounded at forward bases before they pop up, etc.
Yeah, that's not good. But I know why that's happening, but I can't think of a great solution to fix it right now. But he's saying, yeah, PPOs are too easily destroyed. So he's looking for some more threshold. We can examine that, but a big bomb coming down is going to obliterate a lot of stuff. I understand, as someone who might be using it, that it's a bit discouraging. Why am I going to the effort of all this stuff if it's just being destroyed so quickly? We'll get some more community feedback on that, and we'll see what we can do. We would slowly walk that up because we don't want to do something dramatic and then it just, now they're too difficult. That would be a bad problem. That's a much bigger problem than too easy.
Zoom, I would just say is that as a as a guy who likes to use my shovel in the game, I can certainly be sympathetic to with that. And I don't know if we could ever get into where there's different damage states. And I know that we're talking about things that are far in the future because of the focus that we have right now. But increasing that threshold a little bit, I think, would be something that we really should seriously consider. Of
It's
course,
not
I mean,
hard to do. I'm
Yeah.
open to the discussion, but just to be clear, PPOs operate entirely different. They're server tracked objects. They're very, very different than terrain objects. So they're very different. One is entirely preloaded by the client, the terrain objects like the trees and the roads and the buildings, whereas these PPOs are generated on the fly. So adding additional damage states, I would rate as very unlikely. So the threshold, however, is a very easy thing to change. It's just a matter of discussion and where do we want it to be, and then do some testing. So yes, we can totally look at that. That's very easy for us to examine.
that sounds like some good stuff that should be come through the mailbag then. I like it.
Cool. All right. Let's go ahead and get to John Evans. John, you've got permission to speak. Go ahead. One question, please.
Certainly. This is one somebody suggested. Can you hear me?
Yes.
This is one somebody suggested to me recently. It's very old, and I'm surprised I haven't heard it suggested before. When we go to bust an FB and we set a defensive FB to the, unless we set the FB as a defensive one to the city that we're coming from, then when we blow an FB, and we can have sometimes 7 or 8 combat engineers sitting there, the minute the FB goes down, so does the FMS, and we can't, all of those engineers are still
Return to
sitting out
base.
there. Yeah, we can't return to base. It's not even most times it's not even an RES. It just becomes a complete MIA, and all of a sudden we lose all of those engineers, unless people get in a truck or they want to walk all the way back to town, we lose all those combat engineers for, however long it takes to resupply them. Is there any way we could change it so that the mission leader can choose, has control over when that FMS despawns instead of it automatically going down when the FB does?
Okay. A quick answer to that question is if James tends target change stuff, and I only say that because he was a developer working on it. It's really ours as a team to deliver on that. So I'll be careful not to put that on him entirely. But that functionality of being able to change your mission target on the fly would solve that problem. So I would say, let's hold out for that. And then the mission leader would then be able to say, okay, let's change it up. And you would be able to do that. But as soon as the origin as soon as a target gets flipped like that, the FMS will come down. So you're right, but that's the solution. And we need to stand by for that because it's mostly implemented. It just needs some fine tuning, and we don't want to crash the server. So yeah. Let's go to Joe Caderna. If I said that wrong, sorry. You've got permission to speak. Go ahead. One question.
You got it right. Good job. And I tried to load, sorry if going off, try to load Chokepoint, can't install for some reason, or can't play for some reason. I posted a thing in the builders forum and no answer yet. So that's my question.
Okay. Well, we'll see what we can do about that. It might also be a good idea if you've got the builder access in Discord, you'll have the Chokepoint channel. I would recommend messaging at Stefan directly, CRS-Stefan. He should be able to see what's going on very quickly and get you the support that you need. Otherwise, one of our guys inside of the community management team, check out the builders forum and let's help him out. David Scheckler, we're going to you. You've got permission to speak. One question, please. Go ahead.
Zoom, let me enter on Joe. Joe, what's your nick? That would be helpful as well. So
Frantish.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Go ahead, David.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yes, we got you.
What about the glitching issues in the CPs?
Can you specify?
The broken wall downstairs when they blow the CP.
Okay. Are they getting through it? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, they're walking up the wall and killing you upstairs. I see the head pop up through the floor.
Okay.
Kempy just verify that that's fixed in this next release.
Yeah. So good point. Thank you for the question, David. We've got a fix for it. It's coming out in this next release. We're trying to get that release out before the end of October here. That was in reference to the secondary damage state to the capture building. So yeah, we're on it. Your dot reports / dot bugs are coming to fruition, boys. Good work. All right, we're going to go to Stephen Winter. Stephen, you've got permission to talk. One question, please. Got to unmute though.
How's that? Can you hear me all right?
We got you. Go ahead.
Okay, sorry. It's SW1 from Australia. It's 4 o'clock in the morning, so I got up especially to have a chat and have a listen. And I'm pretty impressed with the changes. I think they'll work. The HCs can't hurt. There's lots of experienced players who can take the map. But I'm just still worried about the numbers imbalance. And if we've now got minimum of 2 AOs always, I can see a strong side really cutting through the map real fast. Have you got a sort of a plan to sort of address that if it runs away?
Yeah, good question. So let's be clear. The 1 AO minimum threshold, which we typically experience during your time zone 3, will remain as 1 AO. It's every AO availability threshold after that. So 1 is always going to stay at 1. When you go to 2 AOs, instead of it being 2 now, it'll be 3 and so on. 3 will be now 4 and so on and so on. But look, with the implementation of the garrison supply, it represents the single greatest possibility that even in extreme imbalance scenarios, which is, by the way, a really great concern of not just myself, but excuse me, our team in general. And that is an ongoing discussion. We're trying to find ways to manage extreme imbalance situations, because whether it's the Allies having the numbers or the Axis, it doesn't matter. It is horrible for the game, and it's really bad for the underpopulated side. Now, there will be a winner. There will always be a loser, and that is just the nature of the beast. But finding ways to work those issues out and to give the underpopulated side a fighting chance without creating, crushing morale is key. This HC thing, it definitely will help when no other active HC officers online. The probability of there being a big breakout or system placing AOs or no HC being online at all, this is really the best defense against that we can possibly come up with. Remember, World War II Online is a player-driven game. So go into this optimistically and do your part. You're going to be in a position to do something now for all of you lieutenant colonels. I implore you to do that. Okay. Tex, do we have we're getting the same folks asking questions now. Do we have anything else from other folks?
I'm trying to keep up with the text is moving pretty quickly. We can go back to dilemmas if you want, but but we're seeing just, some of a lot of banter going back and forth. So we're okay. That's all right. I don't think we're missing anything here because people are answering some of those same questions from their colleagues in the chat. So that's why it's moving pretty quick.
Well, if we don't have anything of substance, Chim, is there anything going on in social media? Any questions there we could get to?
Not really. Nothing on the social media side. Everything that was brought up in chat is pretty much been covered.
Apparently, we've done a really good job today to stump most of you guys with questions. So well done, CRS. And parachuting dogs. We just had to go there. Soon.
Yeah, and that's from waiver.
Naturally. I would expect nothing less. Look, we don't need to stay here all day. This has been a huge update. I hope you guys are feeling this. I'm going to go through each of our staff members, give them an opportunity to say one last thing before we punch out. I'm going to go around the horn here. B2K, all CRS, get ready to talk. B2K, anything you want to share with the community? Any last words?
No, not so much. I am starting to work on a couple of different issues with some of the websites. So if y'all see any bugs or want any improvements, please feel free to put them in the forum so I kind of keep track of them.
All right, good. That's a good pace. So let's keep it short, everybody. Chim, any words for the community?
Yeah, if you get a chance, we have a merch site up on Redbubble. URL is WWII.online.com/rackgear. And we've got a game mat on there, a 20th anniversary game mat, and a mouse pad. There's certain items that are only going to be available. Obviously, the 20th anniversary stuff will be going away. And then lots of different stuff. It's a lot better platform than our previous merch site that we had. So if you get a chance, visit that and see if there's anything that you like. That's all I got.
All right, cool. We're getting a little inside view here of the JU88. Hatch is having fun. We're going to keep going through our last comments here while you guys enjoy the visual. Boom Boom, anything else for the community here?
Yeah, fight on. We're bringing more content, so keep fighting. That's all.
All right, very good. Got anything for him?
Yeah, I just want to let them know that a couple of the hats I wear, with the GM teams, you guys see problems in the game, be it with supply or players harassing other people and stuff like that. Make sure you do your dot reports on stuff like that. This way we could investigate it. And a lot of times it's just a perspective thing, and a lot of times it's not somebody doing something wrong. It's just they just happen to be in a good spot. And that's for supply. Me and Boom Boom work together all the time on adjusting the numbers and coming up with it. My hat's off to him. He does a lot of work helping me out with that. The supply is an ever-changing thing. It'll always be constantly something to be tweaked here or there, depending on player population, what other new units come into the game. We have to make adjustments for that with other supplies and stuff like that. So with the supply thing, I did put in the general area in the forums of what the current supply is in game. It's a link to a Google Doc. This way, if you have any question on what is in the game, it's there. You can take a look to see what the numbers are in the game. And before we make any major changes and anything like that, we'll post it in the forums so everybody can have a view and have their little say on it, to help us out. And that's all I got.
Hey, Tex, can you keep calling on folks here at CRS? We're done with the question and answer time. I've got to step away for just a second. So if you can keep going around, that'd be great. I'll be right back.
Roger that. No problem here. Westy, did you have anything to add, sir? I'm just going to go down the list, and Owl will be next.
No, nothing really. I'm just working on the events as normal, and I think the Allied tankers are going to hate me for what I've got a plan for the next one. But aside from that, it's all good.
The fat is in the fire. In the fire, always. Can't down. Very much a tightrope walk that we walk here. Anyway, Al, you're next, sir. And then Waver, you'll be following.
Hello. Can you hear me?
Yes.
All right. So I'm working with Mike Mudd on the terrain team. I'm focusing on the building side rather than the environment side. And I've got to say, Unreal 5, when it works, can produce some pretty amazing stuff. So it's definitely something to get excited about. It's everything for me, really.
Awesome. Great. Waver, and then I'm Brutus is next after that.
Keep your comms up, call your flags.
Waver is always on point, short and sweet. I like it. I'm Brutus, and then MKW afterwards.
Well, it's great seeing you all out today, and thanks for your support as always, and looking forward to the new HC changes and seeing a lot more of you folks in the HC chat causing some trouble at the front. So have a great day, guys.
Good deal. MKW, then Corn, and then we'll finish out with Side Out.
We've got some awesome stuff coming, so stay excited.
Very good. Corn?
Not to repeat, but we do have some really cool stuff coming. I wish I could spill the beans on everything that I've seen or that I get to play with, but future is so bright it's not even funny. Very glad you guys are sticking with it, and there's a lot coming, so get ready.
Wonderful. Side out?
There we go. Should I make sure? Can you hear me okay?
Yes, sir. Loud and clear.
Well, good afternoon, everybody. I don't have a whole lot to report. I think most everybody knows I work on awards in my spare time, and still continuing with that, mostly on allied awards, trying to get them to get as close as possible to one-from-one matchup to what the Axis already have. I just finished all the RAF awards, which you'll be seeing soon. And we are ready for this campaign. We will have all of the end of campaign awards for both sides this time. So we're set for that. Sorry for problems in the past. That's all I have.
Great. Super. I would just like to add here on my last little bit here is that there's going to be some change with this, and with this new lieutenant colonel and the involvement with the HC and that integration. Give each other some grace here, because we know this game elicits a lot of strong passion, and at times that passion can get the best of us, myself included, and sometimes we say or type things that on reflection we probably wouldn't, but people are going to make mistakes, and that's how we learn. No one's perfect. And so as we go through the intermission and then of course you're doing the campaigns, I just ask you to give some people some grace and try to remember, like when you were new and at the map and trying to learn things and getting bombarded with text messages and multiple voices, whether it be through text comms or through voice on Discord, what that can feel like sometimes. So anyway, that's really all that I have. Just keep up, like Boom Boom said, keep fighting. A lot of good stuff coming.
I just have a quick remark to throw in there. For those that don't know me, I'm the systems and network guy. But what I want to do, I play a lot in Time Zone 3, and sometimes it gets pretty lonely out there. I just want to put a challenge out to all the squadron COs and XOs and recruiters. I've gone through a lot of squad lists where you've had hundreds of people in that list, but only 6 or 7 active. Go ahead and reach out to your old squad mates. Try to see if you can't get them to come back into the game. Because at one point they joined and they were active. And if we could just get 10% of the people who used to play in your squad to come back online, we'd see a lot more fun games with a lot more fun battles with more people involved. So go ahead and do that. Reach out to your old squad mates. Try to get them to at least come and peek and see what's new and exciting, and get them to come and play again.
Good point. My apologies here, the way my screen is refreshing. We've got some other folks here. Hatch, did you have anything? And then Mike Budd as well after that? I think Hatch is having a good time flying. Mike Budd, do you have anything? Sniper after that?
Just like to add that we're also, one of the other production team guys is looking at importing GIS data into Unreal Engine 5, particularly interested in seeing how that goes. That's all.
Thank you. Sniper and then Mesozoic.
Not much from me. Thanks for showing up today, and thanks for supporting us and keeping us going.
Yeah, I'm happy to be here, and look forward to a lot of cool new stuff.
Very good. And Stefan, Chokepoint.
Right, to bring it up again. Chokepoint, yes. The next steps I'll be working on is the character customization menu again, just to make sure the stuff I already built works, because I think there's a few bugs, and then continue with the loadouts. We can actually change your weapons and select a higher or lower grenade count. And that's basically it.
All right, thank you, Stefan. Dog 3.
Yeah, I just want to thank everybody, for participating in this. I'm a Mac guy, and if anybody's got any particular Mac problems, let me know. I do have a little Easter egg for Mac players, long-standing mouse aiming sensitivity bug has been fixed. So all you Mac riflemen out there, look forward to some good days. Thanks everybody for being here.
I like it. I like it. Very good. And Charles and James 10.
Nothing.
I'll let James speak first.
Nothing much more to add for me other than thanks for being here. Catch us later.
Thank you, James. I know what understand. Certainly our kudos to our international players and participants here on the panel, because you guys are real heroes. Very good, because the time differences there. Charles?
Working on a bug. My full screen is locking up when using Visual Studio, so have to take care of that.
Very good. And I'm seeing Bannicher. I'm not familiar with that nickname.
He's one of our artists over on Wing 2. That's been here. Yeah.
Okay. I didn't know if you were back, Zima. I'll pass the torch to you. That's fine.
I don't mind. Go ahead.
No, Bannicher, do you have something you want to add? You're welcome to speak if you'd like.
Nikita, you there?
Yeah, I'm here. I don't have anything to say.
Okay, great.
Understood. Okay. I think I've got everybody. If I've missed anyone, my apologies up front. But if now's your time to sing out and say, hey, you missed me. So open that floor up there real quick on the panel. Okay, good deal. Zoom, I think we've touched on everybody, sir.
All right. Well, a quick wrap up here. I hope you've been enjoying the basic flight here from Hatch on the JU-88. Again, we're going to try and get this in before the year's end, as well as the Wellington. That's next on the list. In any event, all of the things that you've seen today are really good and encouraging updates. It's further evidence that we're demonstrating that CRS is actively working to pursue our future as best as we can. And at the same time, we're trying to provide you guys content which is consistent with our plan and our mention at the 20th anniversary, that we were not just going to let this product sit there in maintenance mode and die. We're going to keep you guys busy, and we're going to keep getting you guys stuff. To pull this all off with the resources that we have is difficult, to say it the least. Recently, as of our anniversary, and then we actually implemented it in July, consistent with our plan, we dropped our subscription rate down. To those of you who have continued to hold the line as heroes or maintained your existing subscriptions, particularly the guys at $17.99, I want to say thanks. This has helped us do well. For those of you who are actively subscribed at the $9.99 level, I also want to thank you as well. These are the people who are making it possible for us to continue and innovate. We still have more volunteers than I would like on our team. I love them all. They're necessary to our mission, but I think we can do better. And that really is up to the players stepping up. I'm going to shamelessly say that again. We need you guys to continue to step up and realize that these things don't just happen by, osmosis. It requires an active participation and subscription. So consistent with what Pilot MC just said, which is to encourage your friends to come back, we have given you the best price point for them to come back. We will not go any lower, period. That's the lowest. That's the bottom of the barrel, the original rate, $9.99 a month. Please, I implore you to act as recruiters, get these people back in, get our friends back in. Throughout November, I have invested some resources into a direct mail marketing campaign, which you all can attest, we've never done that before. I will be spending some serious time with our business team throughout November and December to maximize the influx of returning and new players as much as possible during that time. We'd like to see those numbers go up. While these things are still taking place, the development of 2.0, the active priorities of 1.0, and certainly Chokepoint, we still have to get more people in the door here. The mission is not over, and 2.0 is not going to happen alone, and we're a long ways away from achieving that. But we're making solid progress. I just don't want you guys to lose sight of and just say, "Oh, okay, that's it. Cool. It's just going to happen." It's going to take us some time. So to wrap up, please subscribe if you're listening. If you've been a fan of this game from the beginning, if you've always wanted us to get better graphics and to do more, right now is the time. Right now, throughout this holiday season, subscribe. And please, community, get out there and tell them what's going on. Most of the guys aren't going to pay attention. And the squad portion of it that Pilot was talking about, they're going to care a lot more about what you have to say than I have to say, realistically, because they're here to play with you. They're friends. Anyways, now that that's out of the way, which was really, really important. So thanks for humoring me. Not that you had much of a choice. I do appreciate it. Guys, thanks for being here. The Lieutenant Colonel thing is going to be a big deal. It's going to be a game changer. That starts this intermission. So get ready. From what I can tell, people are interested, probably a little bit worried. That's all expected. Those are normal feelings. But we've put some thought into this. It's going to really help out the game. And not only thank you for being here, the player base, but thank you to all of my guys. This represents, we've got 22 panelists here, which represents half of our team working at CRS. The majority of those are volunteers. We couldn't do this without their efforts. The progress that is being made is mostly being done by them. And so community, if you see these guys in game, whether they're Axis or Allied, the very fact that they're entering the game, as Tech said earlier, give them some grace. And just so you know, as I said, most of these guys are not volunteers, or sorry, they are volunteers, they're not employees. A lot of rats who have rat tags are not employees per se. And allowing them to choose the side that they want to play on, to go in game and to be reminded of why they're here. Why are they doing this? Should not subject them to a land blasted amount of things or negativity. Give them some grace. They're doing a job pro bono to help you. So we've had a couple complaints about that. Give them some room to breathe. The fact that they're logging in is great. Remember, there was a time not long ago where seeing a rat was kind of rare. Okay. That's it. Thanks for being here. Let's get out of here. Have a good day. Spread the word and subscribe. Thanks, everybody.
Take care.